alive. It's alive. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Hedyard. I say good morning because that's where I am, right? And by the way, how hilarious is that? That's what we're talking about today is context. Cheers. Wherever you are, whatever time it is. Welcome back. So, about 1 billion years ago, when I was a very little kid, my parents periodically would break into song, which was unfortunate because I inherited all of my ability to sing from my father, who words fail me. Not only couldn't he carry a tune, he couldn't remember the words, so he would make them up randomly, and they didn't actually work at all, even though he was a very creative man. But one of the old songs that they sang, and it was old for them, so you can imagine, was the refrain in the song was "Let's call the whole thing off." Good morning, Miss Maggie. And so the song went, you say tomato, I say tomato. You say potato, I say potato. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off. It's not a conversation, a song about I never want to speak to you again. It's a conversation about how different we are. Good morning, Rob. Boy, do I have stuff to talk to you about. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato, let's call the whole thing off. Isn't I never darken my door? It's what on earth are we doing? Why are we having these ridiculously cheese doodle disagreements? And the answer is context. And I have kvetched and moaned and sniped and yorked about context my whole life because as a military kid, I have no idea where my house is and why is everyone wearing a kilt? Because we would move and all of the norms that I had decided were normal in the last move aren't where I am now. They're not. Whatever this is, it's not that. And so it became necessary for me. Good morning, Freddie. Freddie is saying good morning to Maggie. So Freddie, you must be here. I don't even sense your presence, not because you're not an amazing person, but because I have the sensitivity of a stump, really. All these people who say, I receive messages. Really? Do you? Where? And I just feel it. Do you? I see. Is there an ointment for that? And so back to context, which by the way, we can only see the world through our eyes. And unless we pause and say, excuse me, you have a moment? I'd like to ask you a question. Sure, I have a moment. What can I do for you? Oh, I forgot my watch. Does that look like an elephant to you? No? Elephants are usually gray, aren't they? Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. That's context. And we forget because we are only looking through our eyes. We see the world as this is the way it is. People like us see it like this, except that people like us, in fact, at this moment, I am having a visual audio written, this would be called multi-platform. I'm having a multi-platform conversation with people who are in the Midwestern United States. They're in Florida. They are probably any minute now in the Eastern United States. And certainly they're in Canada. And I have no idea who is just standing over there snacking on something and not commenting. We are connected through this device, through the technology, to people who are all over the place. And sometimes, my Hagyard relatives, many of whom live in England, sometimes they pop on and I'm thinking, good heavens, what time of the night is it that you're watching this now? And then we have a little exchange later because they're in the north of England. And oh my God, how did that happen? Well, thank you, technology. So while technology likes to mess with us, it is also a terrific tool to level the playing field, to get us all feeling like we're in this together, Rob and I talked about that, and we're going to talk more on the upcoming video. And oh gosh, Rob, your video, your editing skills, the way that all came together, we are not worthy. And Gary wants to be worthy very soon. He wants you to tutor him so that we can get our Now What Wednesdays going on, where it's actual more than just me on camera. It's conversations like you and I had, Rob. And we want to do that because for this very reason that I'm talking about today. And oh, by the way, I'm sorry, this is so rude. LinkedIn, we love you. 1,735 views last week of my stuff. These ABCASTs and the random comments that I make over there on LinkedIn. Thank you guys. Thank you for showing up and adding to the algorithm. You know, as Ray says, you're in the algorithm now. You're in the system. Awesome. So what happens to us? Wasn't it an amazing conversation? I made editing very easy. I don't make a lot of flirps and then I pause between thoughts, is what you're saying. I try to minimize the flirps as much as possible and not make those noises that people think, is that normal? Do other people really do it? So the context challenge that we deal with on the daily is invisible. And we don't know we're in it until somebody says something and by the expression on their face, they think it's perfectly normal. They say, Gelendesprung. And we say, I'm sorry, Gesundheit. And they say, what? And they say, well, everybody knows what Gelendesprung means. And we say, well, none of the people that I know in Waukegan, Illinois are familiar with it. Would you like to give us the background on it? And then the person says, oh, for heaven's sake. That happens all the time. Unless people are too embarrassed to admit they have no idea what you just said because they don't want to look stupid. I, on the other hand, having famously looked stupider than one would have thought humanly possible for decades, and now on the internet forever, I have lost a lot of my squeamishness about looking stupid because they paid me money to look stupid. And I said, you won't regret this. I will regret it. You'll be laughing all the way to the bank. So the context issue goes like this. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean? What do you mean by that? And now we're not having a conversation. We're stalled on something. We're got a little bit of in the throat, but it's in our concept throat, right? My big thing, I didn't have to edit out your mistakes because I didn't make, oh, stop. Yes, I did. I made 1 million. What I do is, Rob, don't tell anybody. It's just us, right? It's just us. I make mistakes in a way that looks like I meant to do that. And then people just think I'm kind of quirky. And so far, right up until this moment, I've been getting away with it forever. Shh. Wait a moment, I just told Facebook something that probably I shouldn't have done. So this is my point. Facebook is everywhere. Facebook is in Waukegan, Illinois. It's on the 15th floor of my tiny perfect home. It is up in the wilds of Canada where there are already wildfires. And Montreal, which, if I said Montreal, I have to say it like Midtown Manhattan, right, is under a tornado watch today? What? Okay, I guess we bring in the wash and maybe, I don't know, escort people who are sitting on the sidewalk indoors somewhere, or they're going to end up in Waukegan, Illinois. What? There's context. See, if we were in a place called Tornado Alley, which, by the way, just as a curious question, does anybody know anything about Tornado Alley? My question about Tornado Alley is, why would you stay living there? I get it that this looks like a nice place. My goodness, and the air seems so clean. That's because they blew everything away. After the first 3 tornadoes, the first tornado, we're not quitters. Second tornado, hon, there's some lovely opportunities over there. No, I'm not a quitter. Okay. Third one, you're right. Pack the bags. Third time's a charm. Wouldn't you? I've met people. I actually met people who said, "Oh yeah, my people live in Tornado Valley." Still, like, do they have an underground place they go? Why would they stay? And no one has ever really been able to give me an answer. So if Montreal or Midtown Manhattan suddenly became Tornado Alley, now there's a sitcom writing itself. You see? Context. So where it goes off the rails is when people's lives are not doing well. When people are showing up and bringing their best, and something happens. And through no fault of their own, they need a whole lot more than their best right now. So I'm going to give you an example. We celebrated the birth of Canada, my country, on the 1st of July. We do that every year. The US, our neighbors, celebrate on the 4th of July. This year, on the 1st of July, in Ottawa, Canada, where there's flypasts and there's marching bands and there's all the other fireworks and the people dressed and the flags and the cookouts and the bands and the buskers and it's a party. We're having a party. However, it's the capital of the country, and so it's a bigger party. Lots going on. Flypasts and jets, and it's visiting dignitaries. It's very cool. It's all kind of, ooh, right? Yeah. We had, what's the exchange between 70 kilometers? What's a kilometer is 2/3 of a mile, right? We had 70-kilometer winds. So let's say 40-mile-an-hour winds. And we got 4.5 inches of rain. And it blew in at 40 miles an hour. So 4 inches of rain falling is 4 inches. 4 inches of rain at 40 miles an hour sideways is a different kind of precipitation. People's basements flooded to the ceilings. Footings around older homes washed away. Cars were damaged by falling trees. Hydro lines, electricity lines down. Streets, a dip in the highway, in the ring road access highways through the city were waist high, cars floating in them. Everybody in their little shorts and their shirts and their flag hats, completely unprepared. Although, this is where it's 40 below on any given day in the dead of winter. We were not prepared, even though they said, it's going to be iffy, going to be severe. People said, yeah, sure, please. We're Canadians. Yeah, it was severe. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to talk to you all about. We don't hear the entire sentence. We don't think the entire concept through. If I have a house, in order to get a mortgage on my house, I must have the house insured. The insurance people look at the house, they ask for pictures, or they send somebody over, and they do an assessment on what the house is in terms of a risk for the insurance company. The insurance company assesses that it's viable, and they insure you. And then they insure the one next door, and all of the houses on the street, and around the corner, and on the next block, after they've assessed that the houses are good. Mm-hmm. And then you have a weather anomaly. Or let's talk Florida. I got people in Florida. Maggie? What happens when it's not the first hurricane of the season? It's the third hurricane of the season that chooses to make landfall along pretty much the same path. The insurance companies have not yet finished paying out on the first shattered homes and lives and lost cars. They got a backup of payouts and assessments. You can't own a house, you can't own a car, you can't run a hospital, you can't launch a legitimate business if you don't have insurance. What happens if the insurance companies go under? There's context for you. What happens if there is no backup plan? We just assume they'll always be there. What if they're not? Well, they have to do something. Yes, they do. And the first thing they have to do is they have to make sure that they've got the language right in their contracts and that their insurance salespeople understand what they need to look for and assess and prepare for that is different today than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You know what's really interesting? Maggie and I were talking the other day. They're putting AI in cars. So when AI stops the car because an update is due and it happens to stop the car in the passing lane in rush hour, and every third car is an electric car, what do you call that, boys and girls? I don't know. But context doesn't seem to cut it, does it? So that's my backstory. That's my premise. That's a we are here for this conversation today. The one thing that I do my best to do is, just a second here. Yeah. The one thing I do my best to do is shift my language from soft, subjective value words to words that have more clarity, that have more tangible substance to them. And the reason I do that is because it minimizes confusion. It creates context. I'm not going to assume that because, well, I do it every day. I try not to assume that when it's good morning here and I say, good morning, everybody, and somebody else is having supper. And they say, the woman is completely out of touch. and the phone rang. Call from six. I love the universe. Abby's out of touch. Quick, phone her. Mobile phones, landline, fax machine. Are you all right? Good morning, Ray. Ray, yay! Is your phone fixed? I'm so worried about you. Ray's phone. You know how you get a blue screen of death on your computer? Ray picked up her phone, and you know when it's off, the screen is black. She picked it up and turned it on, and the screen was still black. Now there's context for you. I don't know how you must have gotten somebody else's phone to say, my phone is dead. It's a black screen. I will talk to you later. And then she vanished. So we had an issue with they're trying to get in touch with you about your car's extended warranty. Hilarious, Rob. You're hilarious. You mean the warranty with the AI? So where we are, I'm picturing all my LinkedIn people, these, they're dressed like business people, right? Their pictures are of them looking like business people. I'm wearing a bomber jacket. You know what it says on the back of my bomber jacket? I mean business today. You know what it says on the back of my bomber jacket? Check this out. We are the unforgettables. And the reason for the jacket is that we're going to a fan convention this weekend where people are expecting to see us. And we have just upgraded, updated, and revived our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, and it's called We Are the Unforgettables, Your That's Better After Party. We had 639 people, 659 people on the 9th, and 5 days later, we have 709. We added 74 people in 5 days. You guys rock. So we also, for Fanaticon, so this, I published Fame, the collector's edition, back in 2016, and it's a lot of the kids, all the wonderful insider pictures from the kids show, all of my brats. And so this year, what we're doing is we're doing Fame 2, and it's the Unforgettables, and it's all the people that we know and love from all the events, all the fan conventions, and all the special, exciting things that we've done. So we're going to go and show what the pre-launch looks like and show what it looks like on Amazon. And so it's really exciting. So got to dress the part. So this is my uniform. This is my work attire. So let's go back to context. And I can't stand it. I just have to quickly look and see what's gone on here. Okay, everything's good. Hang on a second here. I just have to do this. I just have to do this because, hang on. Sorry. Let's see. Hang on a second here. There, done. Okay, taken care of. What I want to say about context is this. We can only see, as I said at the beginning, we can only see the world through our eyes. We have come to appreciate, to value, to cherish the connections we are able to make through the use of technology, through the invention of the telephone, the invention of the internet, and gradually the increase in the capacities that technology gives us to have these shows, to do these events. When Rob and I did our conversation together, our amazing chat back and forth, he's down in the US, I'm up in Canada. Technology put us in the same room. His editing wizardry put us side by side. And the first half of the conversation aired on his YouTube channel on Saturday past at 4 p.m. It's called Life Rewired. And I will repost the link because if you missed it, it's lovely. It's what happens when people get together and talk about the world and how it appears to them through their separate eyes. Our entire conversation really, Rob, don't you think, was about context, was about fitting the pieces together so that we can understand each other better. And where that first came from was one of the videos last month where the title was Now What? And Rob chimed in and said, that is the question anyone with a brain injury is asking every 5 minutes. Ray chimed in and said, exactly, sometimes even more frequently than every 5 minutes. And then each of them separately shared some wonderful and very touching, very generous comments about the way it feels like family when we do these videos together. Because while I'm talking, you guys, 100%, yeah, see, you guys are getting together, getting to know each other above and beyond the conversation that I am launching here. I become the context in which you were talking to each other about your own things. Like Ray's phone turned into a paperweight and Maggie has just said, what's wrong with your phone? Ray, Maggie's in technology. So when the two of you split off and have your conversation, Maggie may actually know whether sending it off to Toronto was the first thing to do or hurling it out the window of a moving car might have been a more efficient. She will know. That's what she does. So, and can you see the go-between? The perfect go-between between two people talking technology is not me. I just happen to be walking through the room. Right? So our context, and for my LinkedIn lovelies, it doesn't matter the size of the office you inhabit. It doesn't matter who made your suit. It doesn't matter how fast your car goes, or how many meetings you attend, or how many boards of directors wait for your reply. Before all of that, through all of that, around all of that, we're exactly the same. There are days when we can't quite remember where our house is. There are days when we need that poster on the wall that says socks first, shoes second. We don't ever mention that in the boardroom. Although if we did, the chances are very good, that a lot of people would go, oh, thank God she said that. Thank God he said that. I thought it was just me. Because we are people first. We are human first. Our superpower is our humanity. Our superpower, the one context that matters, is that we are in this boat together. It's a big boat. It's an armada. There's 1,000 billion little boats. But we all have the same agenda. We all want to get from here all the way over to the other side with our essentials intact. That's the plan. That's the strategy. The struggle is the logistics. We had a conversation not that long ago with someone who was focused on this moment, this issue, which is necessary, which is essential. And I said, the challenge in being someone who innovates, who initiates, is that we actually have to have a skill we don't really possess. Have you ever seen a chameleon? Have you ever seen a lizard? Their eyes rotate separately. You get one looking over here and you get the other one wondering if it's going to rain. Okay. When we are decision makers, when we are innovators, we have to have the capacity to zoom in and zoom out easily, not crazy so we throw up, but we have to know that that is required of us. If we don't know that in the first place, then we can be forgiven for not doing it, but we can't be excused for not learning it if we choose to be a decision maker and an innovator. If you're going to get behind the wheel of a car, the understanding is that you know how to drive. If you don't know how to drive, what the hell are you doing? So we forget this. We forget that when we make a statement, there are people for whom that information is really essential. We could be just randomly saying something. We forget when we're having difficult days that we make a small smile and it changes someone's entire day, entire view of themselves. Ray once said to me, you have no idea what happened inside my head when I watched that first video of yours. On another occasion, Rob said the same thing. And I said, good heavens, I hope it was okay. And they both said yes. And, in the longer conversation that I had with Rob, what he clarified for me, which I really appreciate, is that he said, when something has changed, and Rob has a brain injury. A couple of my clients have had brain injuries. I got smacked on the back of the head by a Porsche on the Autobahn. The Autobahn wasn't going anywhere, but the Porsche, right up until the smack, was going at a fairly high rate of speed, and then it left the ground, and then it didn't. It landed, and I hit my head. So I have some sort of resort thing that took place in my head, and I was quite young. So I've just learned to live with it, and I'm not aware of it 99% of the time. Rob's is significant, and it's not that long ago. And he does these little, Rob, I loved your short reel the other day saying, and he's pushing a shopping cart. I know that because I can see his hands on the cart handle. So he's obviously holding the phone, and you can tell that it's like a Walmart or something. And he's saying, shopping with a brain injury. And I just said, oh my God. And then the phone rang, and so I didn't get to watch the rest of it. I'm going to go back and watch the rest of it. The thing is, shopping with a brain injury, with him walking with the cart, and I thought, yep, that's going to be worth the price of admission, listening to that. Because what does that give us? What does that give my workers, my business people, my lovely change makers, people like Chris Brogan, who's a marketing genius? It's just an honor to know him. We had a little exchange the other day, and it was hilarious because the world is too much with us sometimes. And he said, life being life, right? And you say to yourself, if it can happen to somebody like Chris Brogan, who is a New York Times best-selling author from his insights on the human condition and connection and communication and marketing, if he can have a moment where he says, I'm just going to stop moving for a second and let whatever that is work its way through. We need each other. We rely on each other. The human condition is a group animal, tribal, like the pride of lions. They don't hunt alone. Like the herd, we are stronger together. We are stronger because we bring different DNA. We're not clones. I had some ego-leaning individual once say to me, what do you mean individuals on the team? I thought there was no I in team. That's because there's two in idiot. You won't be surprised to learn that it went downhill from there. Although it was pretty funny for the first few seconds. We are better together. We complete more of the many tasks more efficiently, more creatively together. That's why we get together historically, from the time we crawled out of the ooze and into a cave. If we buy into the idea that they're different and we don't trust them because they're different, and then we're shocked that the different ones are saying, well, we don't trust them because they're different. It doesn't occur to anybody, if there's only one boat and all the different people get in the boat, we have to decide to row together or we all drown. So the context is, where are we? I'm in Ottawa, Canada. Where am I in my life? I am in the rounding the turn into the home stretch on the reshift, reboot, reshape of my connect, translate, engage, transform career. Actor, writing, producing, coaching. Something happened during COVID, and I said, we got to find a different kind of show. We've got to find a different way to give people permission to feel safe together. And I've been working on it for a while. And if you've been watching the videos, you know that the concept itself, the umbrella concept, is called Pivotry in motion. A pivot is a hard turn. We make them all the time. We can't make that hard turn or any turns until we make the decision to turn. Not the decision that we're ready to turn, just the decision. Because when we make the decision to turn, we become ready. And it is the creative connecting of the brains that all work independently, coming together to say, let's do this. That is Pivotry. It's Pivotry in motion because nothing stops. Everything is moving. Everything is always in motion. All of our little molecules and life around us. Change is changing all the time. And we are changing with it. I have a saying, I haven't used it in the last little while. And so for the new people in LinkedIn who are just getting used to me, and for my lovelies who will remember this, change is uncomfortable. We know we're going to feel stupid. We know it's going to take time. We don't feel we have time for that. We don't want to look embarrassed. All that. But I'm going to tell you the truth about change. It's only hard when we didn't think of it. You let that settle for a second while I take a sip of my beverage. Change is only hard when we didn't think of it. When we thought of it, it's fabulous, darling. It's fabulous. I've always wanted purple and green hair. Everybody else, right? So, context. We can't go around all the time saying, what do you mean? What do I mean? We can help ourselves become more clear in the messages we send and empower the people who are trying to receive. Tweaking the dial on the little radio. Soft language. How are you? Fine. What? What's the temperature? It's really hot. Okay. What kind of soup is it? My favorite. Don't make me come over there. Tell me in language I understand. What? Everybody knows my favorite is this. No, they don't. No, I'm on Facebook talking to you and I'm from what on earth is Stan? Right. So, there's my light bulb. I have an idea and I'd like to share it with you. Here's the thought. What do I mean? What do they mean? What is that about? These are questions in our heads all the time. Why aren't these people looking up from their phones when they're crossing the street? Is a question in our minds all the time. How could he do a thing like that? I know, right? Did you see what she did? There are questions in our minds all the time. And the reason the questions are there is because it goes back to the old times when we were fighting for our lives every day. And anything that didn't look familiar, didn't feel familiar, taste, smell, sound familiar, was probably dangerous. And we only lived in one tribe. We knew every single member of the tribe. We learned all our habits from each other. And when there was something different happening, we all gathered and said, you go first. Let's have Mikey do it. He'll try anything. That is the way our brains operate. Not this one so much. This one is pretty forward thinking. It's called the prefrontal cortex. But that brain, the one that does 95% of the work, the one that is nonverbal, has no idea what that noise is that you're making. It's older than words. anything that is different, anything that is unexpected, anything that doesn't make immediate sense is probably dangerous. Let's avoid it. Let's get together for safety. Let's work on a plan to deal with it. That is what our brains expect of us. That's the backstory. That's the foundation that we're building our house on, our life on, our connections on. If you're scared of something, if you're worried about something, if you feel that doesn't look, I don't think it's supposed to be that color. Is it supposed to taste like this? Those are all questions that are coming from this place that says, if it's not like it normally is, it's probably deadly. Don't touch it. Better safe than sorry is that brain. But we don't live in that world now. We don't live in one tribe. We live in 50 tribes. When I do my client diagnostic at the beginning of taking on somebody whose life is upside down, and believe me, people of all walks of life find that their lives are upside down. I have intake forms that they fill out and keep because they have never, ever analyzed their lives before. They've just gone about their business and wondered why they never have enough time to do anything. We resolve that. They go about their business and wonder why they can't seem to stay focused on getting that new thing off the ground. We address that. And every single time I give them this tangible tool and I explain the cause and the effect, every single time the client says to me, why don't we teach people this? And I say, I know, right? No, but seriously, why? We should know this stuff. Yeah. Tell your friends. I will. This is so stupid simple, right? Holy crap. And it took no time at all, right? Every time I talk to somebody about the later folder. Later folder, you say? This is a later folder. You know how I know? It says later folder on it. Inside the later folder is an opportunity for you to write down something that upset you. Road rage. Broken nail. The milk was sour and you didn't notice it until you took that first sip. God. Right? Write it down. Sour milk. Road rage. Broken nail. Draw a line under it. Close the book. Put it back in your pocket. You can put it in your pocket. Put it in the same place where your cell phone is, because I made them the same size as your cell phone. Why are you doing that? Because it's now out of your head. It's out of your way. It's not something that you're thinking about here. You're going to look at it when? Later. Right? That's so stupid. It is, right? It's so simple. Yes. Why don't more people do it? That's my point. That's why we're doing the videos. That's why we're creating the unforgettables. That's why I'm on LinkedIn saying, hire me, change your life. You have no idea how quickly it will completely change and how, oh, that's better, you're going to feel. All you have to do is ask anybody who has worked with me. Anybody. Go on my Facebook page. Go on my LinkedIn page. Has anybody worked with Abby Haggard? What happens? And they'll tell you. They'll tell you. I have no idea what she did, but everything's better. Really? Yes. Does it take long? No. Is it complicated? No. What is there someplace else I can get the stuff? No. Nobody else does it. Pivotry in motion. The technique is called the lion effect. It's the lion effect because, as I said, we don't fix it alone. We are together in our quest for excellence and peace of mind. We work together. So context. there was the hilarious comedy album many years ago. Remember when comedians did albums? I mean, I know they do now too, but mostly they do videos. And there was an album, and the comic was at the dentist. I forget the comic. At the dentist, and they've given him stuff. And so he's a little woozy. And the dentist is saying to the assistant, clamps, this, drill, oops. And the comedian said, what do you mean, oops? What do you mean, oops? The comedian said, I know what I've done when I say oops. Now, what did you do? And I laugh harder at that than seems reasonable, except that it's such a perfect analogy, a perfect metaphor for context. I know what I've done when I say oops. You're looking, I have no phone. Oh, ha, ha. Oh, ha, ha, Red. I'll do it another way. You're going to hate this. It's the size of your hand. It's the size of your hand. That would be called early technology. But thank you, Ray. Thank you. Now, what I want to say, I'm just going to click off this this whatever it is. Yes, go away. So context is look carefully at a thing. 2 seconds. Look. Close your eyes briefly. Take one step to either side. Take another step to either side. Open your eyes. Is the view of the thing you looked at 2 steps ago, 2 seconds ago, is the view of the thing exactly the same? No. You are 2 degrees over. You can see stuff on the side you couldn't see before. You start at the beginning of a path in the woods. You decide to go for a walk. It looks really beautiful, lots of foliage, nothing overgrown. And so you say, okay, this is going to be a forest walk. Awesome. And you walk 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 steps. The path turns a little bit. You take another couple of steps and you're in a clearing and there's a pond. That's not what you thought this path was going to take you to. Your understanding of the experience, the adventure on this path transformed when you took those 2 steps around the turn. And back at the beginning, there was no clue what was going to happen to your point of view. There was nothing. It looked like a beautiful, well-grown forest. And now it's a well-grown forest with a beautiful, hidden gem, surprise, experience. Cake, icing, cherry, sprinkles. Wow. That's context. When you go back, when you trace your steps back to the beginning of the path, your feeling about that journey changed at the turn. When you made the return trip and you looked back one time before you took those 2 steps, you anchored that vision in your mind to carry with you. The vision you had of your journey at the beginning of the path has a second photograph added to it. And now that you're back at the beginning of the path again, you say to yourself, I've come full circle. That's context. How was your walk? Brilliant. Unbelievable. You have to come with me. Just tell me about it. No, you got to see it for yourself. I can't do it justice. It needs to be yours. It needs to be your context. So you take the friend, you go, you round the corner, you wait for their reaction, and they say, oh my God, it reminds me of the first time I caught a fish. Context. I didn't know you went fishing. You like fishing? I love fishing. How did I not know that? Let's go fishing sometime. Let's go fishing here sometime. Oh, what a good idea. Context. What is the context? The layers of the story that you now share. Let's go back to LinkedIn. Let's go back to the office. We don't have time. We believe we don't have time to add layers to our context. We don't have time, we believe, to take a moment and look at something that someone said that rang a bell somewhere. I saw something this morning that Gary Vaynerchuk said, and I thought, I'm going to comment. He's always talking about people who don't like their lives, don't like their jobs, but they don't do anything about it. And he is there saying he didn't start until his late 30s. It's never too late. What are you waiting for? I can help you. Here are the things to do. And they don't do it. And he says, I don't understand why they don't do it. And he had like 130 comments. He just made the post. And everybody was saying inertia. And I said, inertia plus no instructions. You open a box that contains a bunch of flat pieces of things from IKEA. And really, every time I open one of those boxes, I am so tempted to just close the box and take it back to the store and say, how much to have you assemble it, really? Because I can't, right? Or the handy person says, for heaven's sakes, I can assemble that for you. And they either can, which is huzzah, or, oh, dear God. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Let's see what we can do with it. Context. We are in this together. What I mean when I say I'm fine is not the same thing. I'm fine. That's a different thing. What's the difference? The tone, the attitude, the swagger. To a blind person, what's wrong with your voice? What are you breathing in a bag or something? Why do you sound like that? Context. A firefighter looks at buildings, looks at situations, looks at neighborhoods from the point of view of someone who knows how easy it is to lose everything. The policeman, the crossing guard, the teacher, the little kid, everybody sees the world through different eyes. Context. When I say tomato, do you say, what is wrong with you? Or do you say potato, just to mess me up? Context. Are we in this together? If we're in this together, would you mind telling me what's behind me? Because I can feel it breathing. And I don't want to turn around. Context. I tell you every day in these ABCASTs that I am here and I can help. I am giving you the instructions in every one of these videos. This is ABCAST 478. We're closing in on 500, boys and girls. Twice a week, every week, except for a couple of disasters that no one saw coming. We are in this together. I have survived stuff, and I have learned stuff, and I share stuff. That's me. You have too. You know stuff that I don't. I know stuff you don't. It would be awesome if we pooled what we know and fixed what we don't together. Context. You know where to find me. I had a recruiter say, we love how unique you are. How unique. What do you mean, how unique? Unique is unique. We love how unique you are. You certainly have had a colorful and storied career. What we're going to have to do is normalize your offering. I said, to look like everybody else? Well, yes. Everybody else isn't doing what I do. Why would I want to look like them? Oh, because that's the way it's done. And how is it working? Well, that's why we need people like you to look like everyone else. Yes. Okay. I have to go now because I'm going to do something all of us will regret if I stay. So that happened, and half a dozen of them. And for only $34,955, I will help you normalize you. I'll bet you will. Thanks. Here's what I want. On a scale of 1 to 10, how is your day unfolding today? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much better or worse is today unfolding than yesterday? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what would you like it to score tomorrow? What's the score today? What was the score yesterday? What would you like the score to be tomorrow? I can help you with that. My name is Abby Haggard. I am not only a survivor, I'm a thriver, and I can help you with that. So let's make a deal. I'll be back Thursday. In the meantime, tell everyone. Think about what I'm saying to you. Reach out. Say hello. Let's fix what isn't working. Fair? I hope so. You know the drill now. Be good to you. You deserve it. You deserved it yesterday. You certainly deserve it today. And by golly, you're going to deserve it tomorrow. And remember to hug your loved ones because they deserve it too. Thank you for making this work. Thank you for turning this into something magical. Because without you, it's a rehearsal.